guys, it's the first comic book issues of 2013, and if I have a lucky number, it's 13. With a 20 in front. I've got some great ideas on how to improve the show this year. Number one, surprise cameos! Oh, well, I guess we've got time for that. Number two, corporate sponsorships. Roger's Coffee. The only coffee blend with real papaya mixed in. I don't mind the taste. Number three, dress professional. I vow to start wearing pants when I host this show. Or at least underwear. Enjoy the show. I know I will. I swear that Jared kid stole my magic screen. Oh, hi everyone and welcome me back to Comic Book Issues. You know, ever since I came back to life, people have been asking me what the afterlife is like. Well, it's a lot like a Marvel Comics event. You keep expecting something exciting to happen, but by the end you're just really bored and ready to move on. Still, it's great to be back. No more pessimism about the comic book industry. No more ranting about storylines that don't make sense. No more anger over gimmicks that ruin characters in order to line the pockets of... Oh, God damn it! Look, I told you I don't review fanfics on the show. Only real, published comic books. It is real. Shit. This is Justice League 13 and 14. Issue 12 ended with Superman and Wonder Woman defiling the Lincoln Memorial with a hot makeout session. 7 years ago, Superman used my monument to get to first base. In my day, the Jefferson Memorial was the hot makeout spot. Grrr. Issue 13 opens with Wonder Woman breaking off the kiss and flying away. 5 days later, she's fighting the cheetah in Central Park. Diana is begging Barbara to let her save her from this curse. The cheetah rejects this and makes various threats to Wonder Woman's butt. She tries to lasso her, but the cheetah reminds her that the lasso's magic is ineffective against her. She represents the dark nature of all humans. Diana threatens to knock her out, which Cheetah says speaks to her violent nature before cutting her with her claws. Wonder Woman passes out only to be found by the Justice League. Batman and Aquaman go to visit the League's former government liaison, Steve Trevor, to find out more about the cheetah, as we learn from Superman that Barbara Minerva was the first friend Diana made in man's world. An expert on mythological archaeology, Barbara was cataloging dangerous artifacts that Wonder Woman captured. She cut herself on a cursed dagger and became the cheetah, something Diana would always blame herself for. In fact, for Wonder Woman, the creation of the cheetah was the second most embarrassing failure of her life. The first? Falling in with Stephen Bochco. Wonder Woman turns down the League's attempt to help. Superman asks for some privacy and tells Diana the League wants to help, not because she needs it, but because they care for her. They briefly touch upon the kiss and both admit it was nice. Flash is upset, with Green Lantern kicked out, Aquaman and Batman arguing over the League's leadership, and now Superman and Wonder Woman have something going on. He's feeling left out. Cyborg laments that he wouldn't know what to do with his time if the League disbanded. He also wonders if Victor Stone died, and he's now just the proverbial ghost in the machine. Flash dismisses this as mind games by the last villain they faced, and reinforces Cyborg's humanity, much to Vic's relief. Diana tables the feelings talk with Clark. She has to find the lost tribe that created the dagger. They can tell her about the curse on Barbara. Superman calls in the others, and Cyborg and Flash begin to work on narrowing down the tribe's location. After filling them in on the cheetah's backstory, Steve Trevor admits to Aquaman and Batman that he still wants to talk to Wonder Woman. They tell him they'll pass along his request and leave him in the hospital. You know, it's hard to believe that anyone could see the Justice League negatively when they're so compassionate. I mean, geez, the man just got fired from his job by the love of his life, and he still helps you out. You can't spare him a pat on the back and say, I feel for you, bro? Oh, and by the way, 5 seconds after she dumped you, she started making out with Superman. Jerks. In the Congo, Batman does relay the message, but Wonder Woman reiterates that their line of work puts him in danger. Aquaman asks if removing Trevor as their liaison is for his benefit or hers. Flash, meanwhile, has had no luck, but both Superman and Cyborg hear chanting nearby while Batman detects movement near them. The cheetah rushes in, slashing at Batman and Flash. She jumps on Superman and sinks her fangs into Clark's neck, turning him into a super furry. As Superman attacks the League, a narrator tells how the cheetah was once their protector. A spear distracts the cat of steel, and we see the members of the Lost Tribe and its priestess who did the earlier narration. She continues by telling how Barbara Minerva ruined their protector. A blown horn disables Superman while Cheetah retreats, telling Hera, the priestess, she will return. Cyborg mimics the horn's sounds to pin Superman as Batman sends the rest of the League after the villain. Hera is amazed that Superman is still only partially transformed. As the Flash catches up to Dr. Minerva, she slashes his tendons and escapes. The priestess douses Superman's wounds with special blood, as Wonder Woman tells the Flash they need to herd the cheetah towards Aquaman. This leads to a repeat of exactly the same thing, as Cheetah again cuts up the Flash. Wow. So apparently the only thing the Flash doesn't do at super speed is listen! Diana tackles the cheetah as Hera explains the true nature of their goddess. The cheetah used to be the tribe's hunter and protector, until a man who hunted gods came to their area and killed the cheetah with the cursed dagger. The goddess lived on in the dagger, cursing the hunter who soon died, before winding up in Barbara Minerva's hands. Until she dies, the cheetah can never be returned to the tribe. As this explanation finishes, we see Diana struggle until she kicks the cheetah off a cliff above the Amazon rainforest. Cheetah is then captured by Aquaman and surrounded by an army of piranha. You know, some might argue that drowning the cheetah is enough to stop her, but Aquaman says no. I'm going to drown her, and should she try and swim away, piranhas! What the hell is this? Of course, Cheetah is fine and later in her cell mocks Wonder Woman. Diana still believes that Barbara is innocent, something the villainess refutes. But once left alone, we hear her talking to someone else, telling this mystery person that she's now in Belrave prison and will wait for Black Manta. Aboard the satellite, Batman confronts Wonder Woman with the proof that Barbara Minerva is just the latest in a long string of aliases for a criminal mastermind. The tribe was right. It was Barbara who corrupted the cheetah. Depressed that her first friend was never really a friend, Diana berates herself for her naivety. Superman tells her that seeing the good in people isn't a flaw, but Wonder Woman wonders how she can trust Superman when she doesn't really know him. He decides to correct this by taking her to lunch at a diner in Smallville, drawing a small crowd who come to see the Leaguers. He wanted her to meet the couple that runs the diner. You know that Superman looks a lot like the Kent boy? Nah, he ain't wearing glasses. Later, he takes her to the Kent family farm. This is the world he fights to protect with the League. The Kents taught him to use his powers to make the world a better place. Diana chose to do that on her own. Clark asks Diana not to see the world as a dark and cruel place. Diana says that seems too simple. Simple as Smallville, says Superman, before leaning in for a kiss. We then see someone is watching them on a monitor. Batman. So not only is Batman a jerk, he's a bit of a perv. Anyway, each of these issues featured a backup story. Number 13 followed Green Arrow and Steve Trevor as a lead-in to the new Justice League of America book, and number 14 follows the continuing origin of Shazam, but we're not going to touch on those. Let's take a closer look at the main story of these two issues. The story was written by DC mainstay Jeff Johns and drawn by Tony Daniel. Tony is following Jim Lee as the book's regular artist, and for the most part he does a decent enough job. I do have some minor quibbles. For instance, this shot of a downed Wonder Woman. I can't tell what's going on here. Is this meant to be some sort of cheesecake pose, or is Diana meant to be propping herself up and kicking at the cheetah? And if the cheetah's naked, what the hell happened to her? Well, you know what I'm asking about. She's supposed to be transformed, but it's more like she's wearing a leotard with a cheetah print. At least Marvel's Tigra has the good sense to wear a bikini. Also, the Flash's chin strap seems to grow and then shrink throughout the course of this story, but that just could be Daniel's unfamiliarity with the character's look. Although I've said from the start, the chin straps that have permeated the DCNU were both stupid-looking and impractical. As for the story itself, it's pretty straightforward. Almost boringly so. Wonder Woman doesn't want, but then begrudgingly accepts the League's help in taking down one of her villains. In the end, she succeeds, but is left sadder, if not a little wiser. Geoff Johns has always been the best when he's writing second-string characters that he has the freedom to mold and control. It should come as no shock that he excels at writing characters like the Flash, who he's long been associated with, and Cyborg, perhaps the Justice Leaguer who is more of a blank slate than any other in the DCNU. Except that he does seem redundant when his powers overlap with Superman so often. However, this could arguably be a Wonder Woman adventure guest starring the League, and he writes a terrible Wonder Woman. In her own book, Diana is confident and caring. Here she's pushing away everyone she cares about and comes off as dangerously naive. Maybe if these stories were set when she first came to Man's World I could buy it, but she's been here for 5 years now and has had plenty of time to acclimate. So the characterization just doesn't jibe. Superman and Batman are likewise portrayed as cold and aloof, as though Johns isn't willing to take chances with the characters who are appearing in important titles that he doesn't have control of. Then there are a bunch of little things that are left hanging, again leaving us with no satisfactory answers. Like, what's the name of the tribe who created the cheetah? We never learned this, which I grant you was okay during the battle. They didn't have time for introductions, but it could have been mentioned in the aftermath? Also, the way they beat the cheetah is so strange. She falls in the water and Aquaman grabs her. That's it? That and the perceived threat of the piranhas was enough to stop her? She manages to draw blood on most of these heroes several times. Why not just stab Aquaman and swim away as the piranhas rip him up? Also, how did they capture her once they brought her up for air? It was a very strange splash page that left me confused. Plus that ending! Superman called the diner owner by her name. For God's sakes, this is even more insulting than the Hannah Montana movie. There, everyone knew her identity at the end, but kept it a secret. In Smallville, they aren't even smart enough to figure it out when Superman shows up in Clark Kent's hometown for no reason and starts throwing out their names, which he shouldn't possibly know. This story was dull, the ending a bit insulting, and Wonder Woman comes off alternately as an ice queen or a fool. As for the issues in review, I give Justice League 12 and 13 2 out of 5 stars. This book has a lot of problems, but what about the kiss? I've said many times that comics would be better if they don't follow formulas and take chances, but that kiss irritates me. It wasn't done to shake up a story, it was done to sell comics. It's a very obvious publicity stunt, and I'm never for things that are done to manipulate the public into buying a comic book. That's what led to the speculation boom of the 90s. Next thing you know, Justice League will be coming out with a die-cut foil cover complete with alternate holograms. Until next time, I'm the Last Angry Geek, and this is Comic Book Issues.